Party, and you are our guest today. And the more I read about you, the more I like you and support you. And I'm so glad to have you. You pulled off a surprise win for your seat, didn't you, for the Democratic Party nomination?
Well, it may be a surprise to some, but it wasn't a surprise to all the volunteers that put in all the hard work with the Volunteer Network, a great foundation that we started with, which we have been picking up momentum since Election Day.
Well, that's great. That shows it that you've got grassroots people out there that know what's organized and know what's going on. That sounds great. Marquita, right off, let me ask you: since you won, has there been a change in your fundraising for your campaign?
Absolutely. We are way above 27,000, and that's what we had in the primary. We are close to almost 1 million. This week, we should be hitting our goal of raising 1 million by the end of this week.
Oh, that's great. And I believe you started out when you just had, less than $10,000 when you actually ran, didn't you?
It was $27,000. We actually updated our FEC filings, and so you can actually go see exactly that we spent most of the money on traveling and some advertising and making sure that we were reaching voters.
Good deal. Marquita, we'd like for you to give your number one reason that you got into this race and include a little background about yourself. We know you're from Memphis, and you started out, actually I think your mother started out as an environmental activist. So let us know why you really got into this race and a little background information.
Basically, I have to tell you how we started in South Memphis. Looking at my mother, organizing our community around what it meant to have a landfill in our backyard was the example that was set for me. She just didn't be quiet and watch people die and get sick. She organized with other parents, teachers, administrators, small business owners in our community to address the issue. My sisters and I, we got involved when we saw that the reproductive cancers were among children, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, prostate, testicular, ovarian, and uterine cancer. That was what was happening to children, like our neighbors. And I was a young mother at 21 at that time. And so my sisters, their friends, and I, we started Youth Terminating Pollution. And that was the catalyst of what got me involved in this political process beyond voting. Engaging and inviting people into this process to look for transparency and accountability on how environmental laws were enforced. I do have to say there is a such thing called environmental racism, where black, brown, indigenous, and poor white communities, they experience environmental laws differently from people who are more affluent and connected to political representation. So if you look at Tennessee, we have 1,100 Superfund sites, whether they're active, archived, or National Priority List Superfund sites. We have 95 counties. But in the city of Memphis, Tennessee, you have 220 of those. And just because the site is archived doesn't mean that it's actually safe for humans or the environment. It just means that they don't prioritize the money to actually remediate that property.
Right. And thank you so much. I appreciate so much you and your sisters and sisters early speaking out. As they say, if you see something, say something, and you all did. And here you are making a great difference, being the Democratic candidate for United States Senate in Tennessee. And one thing I wanted to ask you, how has becoming the first black female Senate nominee in Tennessee, how's that affected you? And growing up, did you ever think anything like that was possible?
You know, I knew growing up that I always wanted to help serve people. Um, in South Memphis, a lot of people don't think it's possible. So what this means to me is telling other people, whether you come from North, South, or Fraser, or any part of Memphis Riverside, that no matter who you are, that you can participate in this process because it belongs to you. No matter how much education you got, you can be without an education and you can not have a high school diploma. And this process still belongs to you because you have a vote and you have a voice. You can register to vote and you can actually participate in the process and get other people to participate in the process, because each of our experiences and what we experience in this American society has value, because that's how you develop policy. That's from actual people's experiences and addressing those issues that people face each and every day to make sure that everyone has access to this dream called America.
Right, Marquita, and there's such a need for folks like you in Washington and in our state government that have been there, have lived it like you have. You know, you're acquainted firsthand with environmental problems and other problems, and we need folks like you. And one thing I want to do on our program this morning is just what you mentioned, vote. I'm always so disappointed when election results come out, and of all the people, the percentage that did not vote. And we can make a difference if we'll just get registered and vote. And I hope for this election, people really do need to get out. Marquita, if you get elected to the United States Senate, what would be one of the first policies that you would work on and would like to see passed?
Well, we actually got a lot of policies that are just backed up in the Senate, so that are really good. So first of all, let's get those on the floor and voted for, that Mitch McConnell has backed up. They have been playing politics with people's lives, and it's unnecessary. As far as the Justice and Policing Act, as far as environmental policies that have been rolled back, as far as labor policies that have been rolled back, we have to make sure that workers' rights are protected and that we have an economy built around working people, and we have an environment with a just transition away from pollution, which means that our economy cannot be based on pollution-based industries, and we need a high-quality educational system that prepares all our children's success, whether you be in rural Tennessee, urban, or the suburbs. You know that your child has public education that's high quality, that prepares them for success.
And when you mention child, that reminds me, I have, of course, children, grandchildren. I even have 2 great-grandchildren. And the environment, our health insurance situation in our country, and of course the effects of the pandemic, which we can't even imagine right now. I'm in horror of it, really. I want what's best for my children, and you do, and we need to be concerned. You know, we have our, quote, I guess, environmental or climate deniers, but to me, the environment is screaming at us, you know, do something. And I'm so glad to see that that's a priority with you. And I wonder, of course, I think you sort of answered this. If you got $1 million grant to use for the state of Tennessee, what would you do with it?
I would put it in adult education to help people who has been left out of the process of education in the past, where it just actually didn't fit their learning style, and help them be able to come into the process of getting a high-quality education with the support services that they needed. So helping people prepare for a GED. And because that is the window of people actually earning higher wages, and that is something that I have done in the past, is help people who were re-entering society from serving their time have get past their adult education on their GED, so they can go on and not go back to serving time again.
I agree, Marquita. I think that's great. And of course, this reminds me of something that kept coming back to me as I was working on this program today and reading about you. Democrats care. Democrats care about the way education, wages, always fighting for decent wages for our folks. And health care, my goodness, health care is right up there, a top priority. And of course, you know, much has been said now about November the 10th is the day that the Affordable Care Act goes before our present Supreme Court, and it's in danger. And I just can't imagine what will happen to people if they just get rid of it. And of course that underscores to me the need of, we need Democrats in Congress. We need Democrats who would vote for just the things you're talking about. We need you in that job on January the 3rd, working for the things that you would work for that are everyday issues that face us when we get up of a morning. And I'm just so thankful that you're out there doing what you're doing. And I'm looking at some notes here. Can you think of anything while I'm sort of looking over my notes that you'd like to add right now?
Yes, we are on our way to Mountain City and Johnson City this weekend because our Transition Tennessee tour is still happening. We actually had a stop a couple of days ago where we actually patronized a small business owner that owned a flight school in Greenville in Greene County. And we wanted to talk about what it takes to actually come in this place, and that we all have to utilize our faith in order to take on and embark on such a great journey with the American people that we have started. We've already made history for the primary, and I can't wait to make history in the general, because working together, we'll win for hard-working families.
That's right, and that's who I wish people could just understand out there, that a vote for you and our other Democrats is a vote for the things that we have to have. And I'm reading something here from an article that I read about you, and I like this. It said, this is a quote from you: "I understand the impact that losing your job can have, the student debt can have, and that environmental issues from manufacturing can have. These are issues that many Tennesseans face. I am living these issues myself. I am not a wealthy politician who can buy a seat in the U.S. Senate. Instead, I'm going to work for it like I have worked for everything else in my life." And I really appreciate that. And of course, your opponent is a well-heeled man, and I don't want to say too much about this, it's so negative, but I read an article about the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, the Senate seat, and it was ugly. It was vicious and ugly. They were ugly to each other. And you're just such a breath of fresh air, and I hope people over the state will appreciate the fact that we need you in the United States Senate, taking your seat on January the 3rd and doing what you can do to bail us out. We're in trouble on health insurance, the pandemic. I'll mention this. I don't know whether you've heard of Dr. Michael Osterholm. And just this week, we don't hear much about him. He's a highly respected epidemiologist, University of Minnesota, and he made a statement that if we don't have a federal plan for this pandemic going forward, we're just in real trouble. And of course, We know that we don't have a federal plan. People have suffered. Over 200,000 people have died. We desperately need Democrats in the United States Senate and the House to try to get us back on track.
That, you know what, it's all about, there are American core principles that we're talking about, and it is neither Democrat nor Republican. And that's the reason why so many Republicans have committed to actually vote for me in the general, and some of them already started voting for me in the primary, because what we're talking about is everyday issues that people are experiencing, and it makes sense when it comes from somebody who actually makes $15 an hour. I fought to get to the middle class, got more education, had a great union job. I got laid off, and I know what it feels like to go unemployment, and I know how it feels to be underemployed and still trying to keep a roof over your head and transportation in order to get the next job. And that's what many people are facing right now. And they need to know that they have a voice in the U.S. Senate, and I am that voice. And we are neighborly in Tennessee. We care about our neighbors, and we want all our neighbors to have health care. Not only have it accessible physically and actually have actual hospitals in rural Tennessee, but also be able to afford it no matter where you are in Tennessee. Because we know if we don't deal with health care, we are not going to make it through the pandemic with as many people as we should. The time to act right now is to get on board, go to MarquitaBradshaw.com, and join the other 21,000 people who have donated to this campaign. You heard me right, 21,000 people have donated to this campaign, because they're all working people and they're doing what they can. Yes, people can, I don't know a whole lot of people that can max out at $2,800, but the ones that I do know, I thank them. And know that whatever you give is just fine. If you cannot give during this pandemic, then you have a way to volunteer your time. And that is how we won the primary, and that's how we're going to win the general. Because all of us working people, we came together to make sure that we secured the primary, and that work was more than $2.1 million. And so we still have the same opportunity to build this network, and not only just to secure the general, but to make sure when I get to Washington, D.C., all those stories and all those narratives that I've collected to be in the policy that's on the website, that's my mandate. When I go to D.C., I'm going to be coming back to the same communities that I went to go visit to see if what those policies are actually doing what we want them to do to shape our communities. This is our America, and it is for everyone. And that's the reason why I'm working so hard to be your next United States Senator for the great state of Tennessee.
Great. Thanks, Marquita, so much. And I hope people out there, again, if you're not voting, if you haven't registered, get registered to vote. You can make a difference. You can have a United States Senator that will actually be working for your interests, not special interests, not the 1% out there that it doesn't matter what happens. They can take care of themselves, but everyday working people that need health care and good jobs, get registered, vote. Marquita Bradshaw for United States Senate. She will take care of all of us. And please do that. Marquita. Okay.
I want to just thank everybody. Vote Marquita Bradshaw. Vote early. Doing early voting. Early voting starts October 14th, and election day is actually November 3rd. I look forward to being your next United States Senator, Marquita Bradshaw.
Thank you so much, Marquita, and good luck to you on the rest of your day and your trip there. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Have